welcome to round 101 of the Shannons Nationals, and we're here at a very sunny, immaculately presented Winton Motor Raceway. It was only a few weeks ago at Phillip Island, celebrated the 100th round of the Shannons Nationals. We've got a great program today. The prototypes will be on track next. Really exciting series with some very, very fast cars. So we get down into pit lane with Tony Shebeki, Richard Craill and Graham Sattler.
Thank you very much, Darren. Graham Sattler. We've got a special presentation. Last week we did it to Gary O'Brien, who had his 100th anniversary on our 100th race. We're 101 today, and this man here, Richard Craill, does 100 races.
That's right, Tony. Yes, we just want to thank Crowlsy for all his help over 100 rounds. On behalf of Shannons, our major sponsor, and CAMS, I'd like to congratulate Richard and present him with a little memento of the occasion.
Let's have a look at this memento. It's the 100 Stein, and it's a non-stop sign either, Richard, so it means you can continue to go on.
I can keep going on? Thank you.
You can, mate.
This has been it's been a great journey. I was there at round one with Gary O'Brien, Wakefield Park in 2006, and it's been great to see the development of this series, and what's been really satisfying is watching how not just the drivers but the teams, but also people that work with us, the media, even volunteers that have been there since day one, and how they've developed and gone through the ranks over the years. So we've got to acknowledge what Shannons have done for this sport as well, and to Paul Gates and all the team at Shannons at the head office that have backed it, and all the individual state bodies that go to every Shannons Nationals round. You know, they're a massive part of it, and thanks to Grazer and to CAMS and Rob and Liam, who got me involved right at the very start. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and another 100 more, I think. It's good.
With not too much further ado, we've got the Australian Prototype Series forming up on the grid. Gary O'Brien has lobbed right next to me again here for the prototypes.
Yeah, quick turnaround from race 2 to race 3. We've just had basically the one warm-up session and a race, and now we're back into the last race for round 2 of the Prototype Series this weekend, and certainly been great racing, particularly between Jason Macris and Terry Priavitas in those two very different looking cars, but delivering about the same sort of performance.
It was a ripping start by Macris there. Jason Macris led the field through and had initial challenges for about 3/4 of the race from Aaron Steer. And here was the move on Steer by Terry Priavitas, and that sort of saw the end of Aaron Steer's attack at the front end of this race, because it wasn't too much longer later that we saw this happen. And big understeer, pretty sure no contact there, and it was all lack of front grip. This is on the last lap. Down the inside went Terry Priavitas, and down the inside went Jason Macris into turn 11. Had plenty of tyre under him, so could manage to keep his composure all the way to the line there and take race 2 win for today. On pole position, car number 44 is Jason Macris. Right next to him, Terry Priavitas. John Paul Drake in the number 66 in position number 3. Then it's the 77 of Aaron Steer in position 4. Phil Hughes, who won round 1 in his Red Radical. Jarrett Ruff, he'll start out of position 6. Chris Sutton in the number 35 out of 7. Philip Tan on debut in circuit racing here in his magnificent looking black Radical. Out of position number 9, let's hope that Jonathan Stokell has a better run in this race. And Mark Lauke out of position number 10. Not a spot we're used to seeing the Lauke Flour Mills West.
We're not far away from a start in this one. Red light is on, red light is out, and Priavitas has got the jump, goes straight to the lead. And Jared Ruff has made a reasonably good start down the outside too, but he might find himself out in the rough if he stays there. No, it's actually Phil Hughes that's gone off.
Phil Hughes well and truly into the dirt there. Jared Ruff was protected by the fact that Phil Hughes had gone through there. So full head of steam out of round 1. Phil Hughes taking the victory. Hasn't really played out at round 2 for him that much. We've got one off there as well. Oh, that's Terry Priavitas after a ripping start. Led the field for the first 3.5 corners and then disappeared off the track. You've got to suggest cold tyres being at play there on the open wheeler.
And possibly elation about being out in front as well. Look at me.
A little bit surprised.
Don't look at me.
We mentioned Jarrett Ruff went backwards this morning. Coming into this race into just about lunchtime now, he has found an absolute head of steam. He's in P3 and he's got 2 of the fastest Wests in the country in front of him and one of the fastest Wests right jammed up behind him. as our early race leader there, and Terry Piavitas finds himself down in position 6.
At least he salvaged something out of it as Chris Sutton leads the Radicals with Phil Hughes off the circuit for a brief period of time down to turn 1. And at the moment it's Macros in front, Steer in second, Rough in third, but John Paul Drake all over the back of him, or we assume he's all over the back of him trying to get past. But now we've got Steer going through to the lead at turn 12.
Big miss of gear there for Jason Macros. We saw his hands jerk around inside trying to grab a gear coming out of turn 11 that time around, and Steer just drove straight past him. But there's the pace on board the Macros car. The multicoloured extravaganza out of Marina Mirage drives straight back into the lead. Absolutely no problem whatsoever there. There's Chris Sutton. He's right up with this lead bunch as well, as Aaron Steer looks to go to the inside of the 77 of Macros.
We're looking at 2 generations of West, actually. The one in front, possibly the latest one we're likely to see this weekend, and the white car behind the earliest, the oldest West that we see running in this series. But as you can see, there's not a lot of difference in their performance levels.
When driven well, like we're seeing Aaron Steer here, but look at Sutton in the number 35 Radical. He's found some paces. Terry Piavitas understeering big time round turn 7 there, just off the back of shot. But our race leaders now all seem to be lining up behind Macros. He had the speed and the poise to be able to get through on Aaron Steer in a straight line. Here we go, off the start line. There's Phil Hughes, unfortunately not making the turn in to turn 1 there. So he went off at turn 1 there, got all of our attention. They got down to turn 3. Terry Piavitas, our race leader, understeered off with cold tyres there. So he rejoined in 6th position. And that's actually where he still sits. He's in 6th position because the gap to Chris Sutton. Here's the replay coming out of turn 11 where we saw Macros get gazumped by Steer, and ultimately Macros got back through a couple of 100 metres later.
He did too. This is getting to be a very tight run up the front. There's 6 cars that are now in contention because Terry Piavitas and Phil Hughes are both on the back of this group, which is currently led by Macros. Aaron Steer is certainly not out of it, and more than wanting to get involved in it.
Phil Hughes has done the fastest lap of the race the last time around as well, so the Radical's working well. All the work on the engine and gearbox that he's had done between round 1 and round 2, because in round 1 he won the race but he had no third gear and he was about 15 kilowatts down on horsepower. Not that it mattered in the boat race that it really ended up being, as Piavitas goes to the dirt again and he'll fall into the clutches of Phil Hughes. No, he doesn't. Keeps it all rounded up, but Hughes is all over the back of the number 4 now. Goes to look to the inside and doesn't get through, and it's on at the front as well.
It's on all over the place at the moment because there's a good battle going on for 3rd and 4th as well, just immediately behind these guys. So this is bottling up to be quite an impressive finish, I think, between these 6 cars. Any of them can win it, as Sutton there looks to get past what looks to be Rough.
Sutton's got John Paul Drake in front of him at the moment.
Well, the two of them he's trying to get past there. And still, Aaron Steer looks away now. He tries to go down the inside towards turn number 10. He won't do it there. And then 11 looks like his best prospect at the moment, doesn't it?
I tell you what, Jason Macros is weathering the pressure of Aaron Steer at the moment. Aaron Steer is going left and right, and it's just a straight line race between these two at the moment. And at the moment, it's Macros that's got that advantage. Even though Aaron Steer has got the hole in the air that he can try and slipstream in, it really is just the drive out of the corner on exit and mainly out of turn 12 where he can drive away. We just see that gap open right up. This is where Aaron Steer will come back in his own, and by the time they get round to the sweeper, he's all over the back again. Oh, big double dip at the steering there for the number 77. Not inspiring confidence at all. That would be horrible. As you're exiting the corner, you think you've got the grip, and then everything just disappears out from underneath your hands.
Yeah, you can see that Piavitas has slowed up in defending his position. So he's actually dropped off a little bit just as we speak. But certainly Macros under enormous pressure. Oh, and again, Steer gets oversteer this time.
At least he's had some oversteer that time. I mean, that's just a little adjustment at the wheel there, and you can sort of live with that. It's the understeer that he's experiencing that really does. It takes your breath away when it just snaps out from underneath you, the wheels. But oversteer, not so bad. Let's have a look at that again. This is a big run out of the sweeper. Oversteer, hands up, corrects it, stays into it. Did not lift the throttle until right in the end there. We had to get on the brake and drives away from it. Aaron Steer is absolutely ragging this West at the moment. What's left of the tyre underneath him? We know he's got a used set or a borrowed set from someone else.
I think he went out the back to see what was out by the dam out the back and just grabbed a couple of those.
Stuffed up behind the Kumo truck, yeah. But he's here, he's in it, and the main thing is that he's dragging points in the series away. He's definitely on the podium, but that could disappear into smoke with too many more mistakes from the white number 77, because Jarrett Ruff's there, and not only is Jarrett Ruff, he brings John Paul Drake and Chris Sutton as well, and ranging in the background is the Terry Piavetis, who's already had 2 offs, and he's coming under massive pressure from Phil Hughes in the number 42. This is out in front again. What have we got from Aaron Steer? Take a big breath, Aaron. Let's see what you've got.
Have another shot there. No, a bit more sedate this time.
Sutton down the inside of Ruff and down the inside of John Paul Drake. Does it work?
No, it doesn't get either of them.
He gets sent wide there, but wow, the Radical to be able to even attempt to pull off that manoeuvre. He's got a good car working very well in front of him.
They're putting on quite a show at the moment, and if it stays the way it is, Macros will take the round ahead of Steer, and Drake will be third. But we've still got a little way to go yet before we can actually see who takes this one out. And now it looks like Steer may have a problem, because Ruff is going to try and go down the outside of him at 11. He doesn't do it, but can he get the over and under effect going?
I don't think we can pinpoint the issue there for Aaron. It's tyres, it's brakes, it's horsepower.
It's understeer, it's oversteer, it's doing everything.
He's dragging this thing around the track on his shoulders at the moment. Really a good drive here from Aaron. We know he can drive well. Oh, Chris Sutton gives it all away, spears off. Terry Piavetis has his 3rd off for the race. And it was only 3 weeks ago we would not have seen dust going up there. We would have seen water and mud at the supercars round, but he drives through. But what it's done is that has given Phil Hughes 2 spots, and he's now going to be contending for the top 5 finish. Here it is again. Jarrett Ruff got in there, but wow, it was the Chris Sutton in the multicoloured extravaganza there in the Radical. Poor old Terry Piavetis off again. Looking to have a great round, Terry was. He's got 99 points, so he's going to drag some good points out of it, but certainly would have liked a better race here at the moment. He's currently sitting in 6th, so
Sutton almost at a stop in turn 5 as we speak, so just keep an eye out. If he pulls up there, we might get a safety car before this finishes.
It's not what we wanted to see, is it? A car park there. It's a very, very fast part of the track. You don't see cars spearing off there. You see them spearing off onto the outside of the sweeper. So let's see what race control does here. They've let the field go past once, so they may as well leave it there. They've seen it. They've acknowledged that the yellow flag was there, and no one's passed anyone, so there's no harm, no foul. Have a look at this. Phil Hughes goes to the outside of John Paul Drake. Ultimately, the manoeuvre will play out down now at turn 10. He's got the inside running there, and Phil Hughes, the sensation of the prototype season 2017, now muscles his way into P4. He's out after a podium now. Jarrett Ruff's the next car up the road. Plenty of laps still to do at him. We're only at 2/3 distance. But the guy from England that now calls Melbourne home, his workshop in Brayside in the southern suburbs of Melbourne, who had a ripping run in the wet at round 1. Here it is again.
Ran side by side through turn 9, then sort of got out of it a little bit, thought, no, the gap's still there. I'm just going to keep my Radical in this situation, get down the inside, a little bit of a touch there, let him know, knock, knock, I'm coming through. And does a great manoeuvre, and for a bloke that we thought, he's just doing this as a bit of something to do, and
so did he.
Yeah, and he said, I don't care about winning Radicals. I want to win all over. I don't want just the Radicals. I want the whole bit.
He splashed around like a 2-year-old in the bath at round 1. Here we are now under beautiful skies, ideal racing conditions for the prototype series, and let's hope that once we get to Sydney, we hope that Terry Piavetis and his mates from the West can come and join us in Sydney and really bolster this field, because this racing is second to none here this weekend. Absolutely fantastic racing, and Hughes goes round.
Oh.
So from hero to zero, or zero to hero and back again, spins it round and gets back on with it. Couple of laps remaining, so he sees Terry Piavetis go through. 92 points for Phil Hughes if he finishes where he is. 100 for Terry Piavetis. Macros is on 115. Aaron Steer on 102. Jarrett Ruff on 93. So Phil and Terry, although they've had a fraught race, They've both been up and down the leaderboard. They'll certainly drag good points out of it.
Here we go, replay. And we see, he got out very wide into that corner, and that was turn 4. And just looped it around. I'd say he's just got out in the marbles there. There'll be a bit of tyre balling going on out on the outside of that track, and that's what he's got caught out on.
John Paul Drake retiring. And
that's off turn 1, is it?
He's taking... No, it's actually around the exit of turn 8, between 8 and 9. So he pulls up in that car on the penultimate lap of the race, and our leaders are now on the last lap on what has been an absolute ripper entertainment race from these guys. Just get the feeling that this last lap's going to go on uncontested for Jason Macros. He's got a good 2 or 3 car lengths from Aaron Steer, but here he goes. Can he set himself up for an inside run? I doubt it, because Macros is going to cover that off. Well, he leaves it open, but it's going to be a big plunge, and there's just not the car under Aaron. This is where he should be able to stay with him. This is where the horsepower of the Macros car should be able to stay in the hole behind the Macros car, but he drives away from him.
Has been nothing in this throughout the whole race, and Jason Macros down for the last corner now. Brings it out onto the pit straight, the longest straight here, and will take his 3rd victory for the weekend, a clean sweep. We haven't seen that very often in prototype racing series, and it's 4 bearers, but today it's been Jason Macros across the line in head of Aaron Steer, 0.63 of a second. Jared Ruff right close to him in 3rd spot. Phil Hughes has salvaged something out of this in 4th spot, with Mark Lauke in 5th, 10, Pia Vitas. John Paul Drake obviously didn't get to the finish. Chris Sutton pulled up as well, and Jonathan Stokel continuing problems with that West, didn't get off the line.
Yeah, feel real good with the result. Great weekend all around. Good racing, close racing, and the car got through in the end, which was really important. And we had a short break, and then having a 15-lap race, I had Aaron Steer really close behind me. There was a few hairy moments where he took a position off me, but I had like only one chance to get it back, and I'll get it. So I was pretty pleased. So.
We're going to take a break because we go into the Australian Production Car Series in just a few moments. Trackside here at Winton Motor Raceway for round 3 of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals. We switch over to true endurance mode. Gary O'Brien's jumped right back next to me for this race, and Gaz, 300 Ks for production cars ahead of us.
Certainly a long race, but and it's a tactical race as well. It's just not a matter of going fast. You've got to nurse the car a little bit at stages, because these are production cars. They're not built as race cars. You can basically say the race will be split into half, because with the way it works is a driver change should happen around halfway through the race.
Well, we certainly expect it to go rain-free. The local conditions here are absolutely magnificent. Let's have a quick look at the field as they come around to line up to take the green light to start this race. It'll be Will Brown in the Oztech Wire and Cable Evo 10. Nathan Morecambe will share with Supercars great bloke Chaz Mostert. Then Bob Pearson will share with, the journeyman Rick Bates, very, very quick. Keith Bensley at the wheel of the Mercedes. Rick Shaw will come out of P5 in the RX-8. The Mini next, number 50, with Keane at the wheel. Michael Gray will start the Corolla. Then we go to Grant Burgess. This is a car to watch in the Kia GT. Some fine bits of kit sitting on the front row there. Mitsubishi Evo, that has been the stalwart, the winningest of cars in production car racing for some time, and gets away nicely. Does Bob Pearson at the wheel of the product car. He draws right alongside Chaz Mostert and will go side by side with him into turn 1. You're not going to win it in turn 1, boys. You've got to get it through turn 1 and get through there. So Mostert hangs on cold tyres. Bob Pearson says, righto, we'll play that game. And we've got a long race ahead. Have a look at the V8 Commodore. Gets past the RX-8. Gets past Michael Gray. And in fact got through Keane and Kirkham there as well on the run down to turn 1. Already up into position 5 on the road. And it's got Keith Bensley in the BMW in front now. So looking to make score early in the big V8 from Bill Stein.
That was an awesome start from Lillis to come from where he did. He was outside the top 10 and made up so many positions as we see him go down through turn number 7 and into what they call a cleavage, and that's that Commodore. Now ahead of the RX-8, the Class C leading car. It's been a phenomenal start. That puts him up to position 5 behind the Bentley BMW. And we're just looking to see where the M4 is at this stage. You can't seem to see it out there at the moment.
Yeah, we expect to have seen it blazing away. In fact, I haven't seen it on track there. Bensley now just defending to the charging HSV. Goes side by side. Gee, Lillis has got the car working underneath him, hasn't he?
It's going quicker than yesterday.
Yeah, it's absolutely early, coming on strong. They're going to try and run away with it. They've already made their way up to P4, starting well outside the top 10. In fact, they had a 14th position. This is a ripping start. Didn't even see it coming to head into turn 1 there.
I don't think anyone else seen it coming either.
The big HSV.
Will Brown continues to lead as we see the Focus with Chaz Mostert at the wheel in second spot. Bob Pearson in third. We've got an issue with our timing. We haven't got Mostert as showing on the Focus, but certainly in second position. Chris Lillis in fourth, Bensley fifth, and then Lachlan Gibbons in the Subaru will be in sixth position. Rick Shaw has dropped a spot there, although he was ahead of him early.
No M4.
No M4 out there, and we've just had Gibbons go past Gore and Shaw in behind them. So it's all gone topsy-turvy on us in the first couple of laps here, as Phil Kirkham's made a pretty good start of things too, to be ahead of Gray, and also Keane in the Mini, Armin in the back rear starting Renault Megane is the next one. Then we've got Burgess, Currier and Luff in the 2 Class E cars. Those are the little Suzuki Swift Sports.
We might just seek some confirmation, because car 11 that we thought had Chaz Mostert on it, and that was what the screen was telling us, has now reverted to Nathan Morecambe at the wheel. So
maybe they're doing a change on the fly.
We'll get that confirmed for him. We'll also try and get some information on the number 18 Ian Sharon BMW as to why it hasn't come around. There's the Oztec wire and cable car with Will Brown at the wheel, who did a splendid job yesterday easing this car to victory. In fact, in the last few laps he was told to slow, because unbeknownst to us and even unbeknownst to them, there was a diff issue with that car. They've rectified it now. We're going to have a look at the replay of the start. So this is into the first lap with, that's Will Brown into turn 7 on the opening lap. Big lock-up on the back there and bounce the car around. Don't want to be doing any rear lock-ups like that, especially with the diff issue they had yesterday, albeit they've fitted another one. You don't want to be giving it punishment like that. And here's a big battle pack starting to form up behind Keith Bensley. It's now Michael Armand, who is charging at this. Hasn't done any laps other than a couple to qualify for this weekend. Didn't get any running yesterday. Was really looking forward to getting back behind the wheel. His father made a name for himself in production cars, and Michael hasn't done any production car racing, but would like to get the experience. Of course, these long distance races are always a big attraction to a racer that wants to get plenty amounts of laps, feel the difference physically that you feel after sort of 30 or 40 laps of going around a track, how you can really turn a lap on or get into the groove, as they like to say, when we go to Mount Panorama for the 1000 every year.
Cheap racing too, because you're sharing the entry, you're sharing the costs of running a weekend, particularly if it's an event like the 6 hour, where you can have 3 drivers, even in some cases 4 drivers.
So the tough tale still continues with Shannons, and Andrew Rawls has tracked them down in pit lane.
Michael, not the place we want to see the BMW. What seems to be the problem?
We're not really sure at the moment. I mean, did a motor change overnight. Everything was right. We went out for the warm-up, and it was as good as our old motor. Went out there to start the race, and it was just doughy. Just didn't have anything. The motor's revving up and all. The motor seems okay. It's something missing between the motor and the accelerator. So guys are looking into it at the moment. Hopefully we can at least get out there today.
Here we go. Here, this battle still goes on. Michael Armand looks to the inside. He just can't get it up there. Maybe turn 7's not the spot, Mikey. Maybe you've got to do it. Oh,
that's
they
the way
come
to do
together
it.
now and tear the add-on off the side of the car there as Michael Armand goes through, and it's well, this crew have had enough battle wounded out of the Osborne Motorsport car. They lose a bit of a side skirt as well that time through, but Michael Armand will release the frustration now and gets through. Let's have a look at that again. He was there, ducked in behind. Bensley understeered wide. Michael saw the opening, and you've got to say that was a play-on type of incident, wasn't it? The Bensley car went wide, so Michael Armand filled the gap.
Well, there's a bit of trailing debris off the side of the Renault Megane too. Let's hope it doesn't mean a pit stop to pull that all off.
It's our first safety car with 91 laps remaining. This could be a long afternoon if we're getting one this early. So it's
debris?
Yeah, I'd suggest so.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is, and that looks like the debris off the Megane. The orange trim from the Osborne Racing outfit.
It certainly negated that lead that Will Brown had managed to eke out. So they'll be line astern. Pearson will pick up that 12-second deficit to the second place car as well.
Here's good news from the lane. Number 18, the Shannons Rentals M4, albeit 10 laps down, will rejoin the race. They front up to pit exit.
Have to wait.
Shut until the train goes past.
Exactly. Have to wait till the safety car goes past.
I suppose one more lap's not going to really matter when you're joining the fray 10 laps in.
Well, if this car goes according to its form, it is a weapon. It might pick up a fair few of that.
We're racing again now and charging down to turn 1. Will Brown does a very nice job. Gets the jump on Nathan Morecambe and a good clean restart there. Bob Pearson goes to the dirt there, trying not to lose any ground. And there's a Subaru that's weighing into this one, Gaz. Gibbons the wheel.
Snuck up on him pretty quickly, has he, Lachlan Gibbons?
Done a good job yesterday until the thing expired on them. But doing a ripping job now as he ranges up onto the back of Bob Pearson. And there's our race leaders, and we're just looking at the two cars just behind them. But here's the pressure now. Nathan Morecambe not wanting to see Will Brown drive away in the Evo this time around.
Right behind him.
Back onto him.
Right behind him, Gibbons goes down the inside of Pearson. Does he get away with it? As we see Michael Armand exiting the pit lane.
It's all the good work that Michael Armand's done early on in this race has come undone with that little coming together out of turn 7 on the run up to 8 there. They've cleared the debris off the side of the car. They've cleared the debris off the track, and we go racing again.
Yeah, and while we were quickly glancing that, Lachlan Gibbons has taken over third position from Bob Pearson, so that's been a good run, and of course been long-time rivals, these two manufacturers with these cars, as looked like Pearson was going to have a go at him there. Came back up onto the back of the Impreza as they went down to turn 11.
Tony Shebecki's chasing the stories in pit lane. Tony.
Yeah, Daz, we've got Colin Osborne with us. Colin, that's what's left of that little guard on the side of the car.
Yeah, look, Michael was caught behind one of the BMWs and went for a pass, and the door got closed or something, and the result is this bit was hanging off. So to the people at Renault, spare parts ordered during the week, thanks.
Yeah, well, Tony Shebecki was talking to Colin Osborne. We've had a change of lead, and it's just going to come up on a replay right now. You'll see coming into turn 3, the auto action sign in the background, and going down the inside is Nathan Morecambe as he takes over from his Super 2 teammate in Will Brown.
This is Michael Gray with Rick Shaw, who's recovering from an unplanned pit stop with just to check out the front of the car. They've changed the tyre, thought it was a wheel bearing, so possibly pressing on now. The other thing is with the number 18 BMW is back in the lane as well. So they got out, did 2 laps, and unfortunately Ian Sharon has brought the M4 back into pit lane.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good weekend for Shannons Rentals.
Well, they had the same issue when they bought the 135 out originally. They had issues and concerns. They developed, they tested, they made the thing better, and it's obviously what they're going to have to do with the M4 as well now. They don't have there's not something that BMW give you to take a road car into a race car and make it immediately fast and reliable. You've got to do that yourself.
Yeah, because they're production cars. That's what the whole business of racing in production cars is, that you've got to make these cars work for you. And at times you can't go as quick as you'd like to.
Tony Shebecki has got Rod 7.
Yeah, we certainly have, Daz. Nice little dice out there, mate.
Yeah, the boys are having a little real go, aren't they? They're obviously teammates, as you've said, so pretty exciting. He needs to give me a bigger gap than that, though, by the time I get in, because I'm, not looking forward to racing with Chaz. So
Oh, but it's a nice challenge, isn't it, coming up against a young bloke like Jazz?
Yeah, it is. But I'm an old bloke. He's a young bloke, and he'll be going, I reckon. But look, we've got a strategy, and I think there's still a big chance. We've done some big changes overnight because the car actually did a rear diff, and then caliper was broken. So, the fact that we got home and won yesterday with a limping car, if the car holds out today, I think we've got another chance.
Covered himself very well there, didn't he? And as he said, he's not looking forward to racing Chaz. You haven't got much of a job in front of you. You just got to beat Chaz Mostert. You'll win this race.
Yeah, Bathurst winner. Well, in fact, both of them are as well, but in different forms of the sport. But certainly, he loves his motorsport. Great benefactor to motorsport as well. Rod Salmon, he's put his money where his mouth is numerous times, and got his own motorsport, and Brent brought on numerous other races as well into the scene. So it's good to see him at the track, good to see him smiling and enjoying it as well. Tony Shebeck is working hard in pit lane, Tone.
It's really nice, close racing, isn't it? It was the same yesterday as well.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty hectic. We were a bit unlucky yesterday, ended up trying to be a bit too greedy on our tyres, and it didn't get quite away with it. But it proved that you could get away with it. The Evo got away with it yesterday. So it was. We'll see what happens today. After obviously a lot of people would have pulled their tyres off last night and been a little bit worried about the distance on them. So we'll see what happens during the pit stops today.
Michael Gray off into the boonies, bouncing across the infield here at Winton Motor Raceway. There was a raging battle going on with Kirkham and Keane. He continues on.
Cost him the lead in Class D.
Yeah, but he's gained, come back on the track within sight of the main protagonists in his class, but it does give them a very clear lead away from him.
Yeah, they've got quite a good advantage. Of course, Phil Kirkham's car is also in that class, so that's been a great battle between the three of them.
Yeah, the Class D battle has raged all the way through this race, and unfortunately for us, Michael Gray has just eased off the back of these two. I dare say he'll get the head down and get back on with it. Here we go into the sweeper. Michael Gray out wide. Phil Kirkham won't have any of that, and off Michael Gray goes. You've got to suggest Michael probably could have fought on with that, but it was going to be diminishing opportunities at that stage. What he's managed to do now is to gather it all up and does get it back on the black stuff. Hopefully no damage done there. Change for the lead whilst we're talking to Chaz Mostert there. His car's just been relegated back to P2. Will Brown did nothing short of just drive straight past Nathan Morecambe. There really wasn't a battle put up for it. Let's hope there's not an issue with the focus, because it actually did look like it just slowed.
It's not a place where you normally would sit past. And again, Brown in all sorts of trouble down at turn 9. And Morecambe this time says, right, I'm going to have a bit of this. No, Brown holds him out. But he can see he's in the right spot now for turn 9. And can he get it done?
Oh, Brown
does.
It's some sort of shock absorber issue in that car. It's really not responding well to power inputs on mid-corner there. So that's what happened. And Nathan Morecambe hasn't been there pressurising him or touching him or anything like that. He's just been there. And Will Brown is almost driving desperately.
He did get it up on the ripple strip.
Yeah, he's attacking the curbs. There it is, out over the ripple strip, opened it up. Probably at that stage should have said, yeah, righto, Nathan, you've got through. And here he confirms it as well. Look at that. Just really, that's not a pretty thing to be driving when it's doing that like that. And that's about 1/3 the way through the corner. So probably should have been just a little bit more patient with getting on the gas there.
This would be an unexpected stop, about 8 laps short, although they are doing a driver change. So I suppose if they have had to come in early, why not get this driver change done now? This is Richard Luff and Caitlin Hawkins' car. Caitlin, of course, from Benalla, local area, so a bit of local flavour for this one. They're doing fuel as we see the BMW with Keith Bensley about to step out of it and Scott Gore to go in for his second stint, if you count yesterday's start as the first stint.
Got another manual fuel fill here.
Brings it in nice and close to the pump as well. Very well done. The Evo looks like it's almost rear steering, doesn't it, through a lot of the corners?
Yeah, it's not a pretty thing at the moment. It's a limited slip diff that's opening up, and there it is into the lane now. So on 51 laps now, Nathan Morecambe, it is time to push Try and get as much gap as you possibly can during these next couple of laps. Rod Salmon will jump on board, and if this car's not behaving nicely, Rod Salmon's in for a pretty tough old hour and a half or so out there out on track.
Jerry Burgess brings the Kia in as well.
Yeah, it's running well. I've said it 5 or 6 times already this weekend. That Kia is just doing all the things right. I guess it's got a fair bit to do with the preparation that the crew have put into it. Terry Conroy Motorsport, they know production car racing.
Will Brown getting out of the car and ready and willing to takes his padding out. Not like a actual seat mould, but just a bit of styrene, whatever. No, not even that. It's just foam.
Yeah, bit of mattress overlay or something like that. Bit of foam there.
Done that.
Move and tear over the line, cruise over the line, and Rod Salmon goes. So good car control, a good presence of mind there to not send him before the crew had been over the line. Just bobbling in the lane there a little bit, Rod Salmon. And the Kia Proceed Hankook Tyres car heads back out on track. Right in behind the Bob Pearson car that Rick Bates is now back at the wheel of, the number 33. We'll be back after this quick break here at the Shannons Nationals. Welcome back trackside here. This is round 3 of the Shannons Nationals, Winton Motor Raceway. Here comes the race leader, Nathan Morecambe, on lap number 55. He's coming into turn 3 right now is car 2 on the road, Rod Salmon. So let's see what happens. There's definitely fuel going in.
It's interesting that out on track as we speak, Agathos is trying to unlap himself from what we expect will be near enough to lap leader, the race leader in Salmon by the time they come around. Well, actually, Rod Salmon has got the lead of the race while that was happening. At the moment, it would appear that Salmon's lead will be somewhere in the region of about 40-odd seconds, with Mostert in second, Bates in third, Agathos in fourth, and maybe a lap down.
Pretty much what happened yesterday.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much what happened yesterday. It's played out, except the fact we're probably 4 laps further into the race now, so Chaz Mostert's ability to do it. I think it's a wise choice to give Chaz Mostert a fresh set of tyres on the front of the car, the working tyres on this particular car, for him to go out there and do what he can do with his hands and feet and really start to wring the neck of the direct plaster water outlet Rondo Focus. And we go down to Andrew Rolls.
I'm with one very happy chappy, Will Brand. Fantastic stint out there. How was it?
Yeah, good. The car's got a couple of problems. We were trying to fix the center diff before we went out. The oil pump's not working, so we're getting quite bad locking in the rear. But I just thought, if we can stick with Nathan in the Focus for most of the stint, and then I'll hand over to Rod and we can see what we can do from there. But we had a win yesterday, so hopefully we can come top 2 again today.
Good luck. Tony, over to you.
A place here at Winton where teammates become enemies. How funny is that? You guys, of course, know each other so well from the Super 2s, racing against each other in a good race as well.
I definitely do. We're actually here on Wednesday testing our Super 2s, but definitely a hard-fought battle with Will. Looked like he had a bit of a diff issue, but we also had a power steering issue and a bit of our modes in the car, but it was a bit even battle, so it was pretty much salvage the race and keep racing hard and push on, and all about keeping a gap to the guys behind us. And yesterday we came up short with a flat tyre that cost us the win, so this time we changed the 2 fronts just so that wouldn't happen again. And it looks like the other boys didn't change tyres, so we got to hunt them down now. So I reckon it's going to be a race to the end.
Rod Salmon leads the way over Chaz Mostert to Rick Bates and Dimitri Agathos, albeit almost, a lap down now, lapping a car length down, so Rod Salmon has fought back. Here's number 2 on the road, Chaz Mostert, car 11.
12 seconds between first and second. That gap has just been molested, I guess, for a lack of
obliterated.
Yes, for a lack of a better word. He's hoed into that one, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's bringing that expectation back down from 10 laps to maybe 7 laps that he gets. At least gets onto the back of Rod Salmon. And Rod's not hanging about. He just had Dimitri Agathos go through him, and then returned fire and has managed to keep Dimitri Agathos off the lead lap there as well. So there's a bit left there in the Evo 10, but is there enough left there to fend off this charge from car number 11? As Andrew Rolls has got more information for us from the Winton pit lane.
Yes, I'm with Chris Lillis. And Chris, an unscheduled pit stop there. What was the problem?
We just keep having problems with the dry brake fuel, so it's not filling properly. So luckily the boys next door let us just pump it in by hand. So we're doing it old school, but same problem we had yesterday. It's a brand new car, a lot of teething problems. So we're just learning this side of it. So he's fueled up to the end now. So unless he gets tired, I won't get back in, and the car's going good. So hopefully we can get back into 5th.
It's good to see the crew have been able to go to the garage next door and say, hey, do your deal on fuel. I'll pay you for your fuel. I'll fill it up after we can empty it if you let us do that. And that's good to see. It's what it's all about down in this sort of racing.
The gap now down to 1.9 seconds. So any tick of the clock now we'll see a lead change. You can see the two cars are into one picture as they come down to complete lap 77. And nothing in between them at this stage.
Round 3 of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals, the Shannons Nationals. And this is the round 2 for the Australian Production Car Series, and leg 2 if you like, 600 k's the distance, 2 races, 100 k's yesterday, 300 k's, 100 laps, and exactly the same distance today. We've covered 78 laps already, and we're in the closing stages, and it's going to really start to heat up, Gaz. And I don't know how many times we've done these races together, but the first sort of half an hour can be a bit torrid, and then we have a lull, if you like, or a settling down, where the cards start to fall, how the race plays out, and then we get to about the last 20 laps, and it's going to go again today, isn't it? About lap 20, we're going to have lead swaps, and it's going to be on for young and old here. But now this is Chaz Mostert ranging up onto the back of Rod Salmon. Both of them have had careers of success, albeit probably a couple of decades apart from each other.
Yeah, Rod Salmon was originally one of the privateer racers in the early years of the supercars with Damien White, actually, who raced at Bathurst in a Falcon AU, and of course both have gone on and did other things after that.
Damien White notoriously headed up operations at supercars for quite some time.
He raced a Ute for quite a while, had to go in the development series in a Commodore for a little while as well. Now
in charge of the rebuilding, I believe, up at Queensland Raceway, a new racetrack there, and I just saw on screen the grey Kirkham car. Now they're on different parts of the race now because it's best, and the silver Corolla is actually on lap number 73 and the Kirkland car is on lap 70, so there's no real battle to try and slow down the Kirkland charge.
A replay of the pass for the leader. We've seen this before, haven't we?
Yep.
But this time there's a bit more gap in it, and Rod Salmon said, well, it's all yours, buddy, just go on through, we're not going to contest it. He knows he can't match Chaz Mostert's pace, and that allows the Ford Focus RS through to take the lead, and almost immediately pulls out something like 3.5 seconds with that gap between second and third at 42.3 seconds. Now Salmon will be conscious that he has 21 laps to maintain a 42-second gap, which you would think at this stage is probably quite possible and quite achievable. Salmon in the pits. So this has come out of the blue. Rod Salmon pulling in the pits out of position 2. This should elevate the product car up to second. Weren't expecting dramas at this stage, although they did talk about power steering issues. Not power steering, but that centre diff in this car. And we've got a safety car. So something's happened around the track. We don't know whether it's debris or whatever. Now this is just what Rick Bates needed. It brings him right up onto the tail of Chaz Mostert with something in the order of 19 laps to go. But what we've got the safety car for, we haven't spotted as yet. We'll keep an eye out for that one.
As we go down to Tony Shebeki with Will Brown in the pit lane.
Well, that's damn disappointing, mate. What was the problem?
We're not too well. We think it's a centre diff again. He's getting a bad smell of fumes in the car, so we're pretty sure it's a centre diff. And we had that problem yesterday when we limped at home. So he's just going to have to go out and limp at home again, and try to get some points for his championship.
So you've lost first, obviously. Second probably on the line there as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. The second was on the line. If we kept up the pace we were doing, we would have got second quite comfortably. But that's racing, I guess. And Rod will get it ready for the next round. I'm sure he'll have a good race.
Bob, no better a time for a safety car, hey?
Perfect, actually. We went down a little bit because we changed one extra tyre, but as you can see with the Salmon car, that was a wise move. And we think Rick's got the pace of Mostert, but we're going to find out. He certainly had the pace over him in qualifying. So as long as the tyres are still up to it, looks pretty good.
It peels off Rod Salmon again now, so the number 6 car got a new left front, right front as well, so that's interesting. And we go racing again now, green flag waved, and the field gets away. Chaz Mostert's hauled them all up to a halt as we got big dives. There's Agathos coming through. Where's Rick Bates? Trying to stay out of trouble. I'd suggest not getting too racy with the RX-8. Trying to get his way through there, but Tyler Everingham's going to follow him through and try and get through there as well. There's the Burgess car, there goes the Kirkham's car, Sans rear bumper.
He's threading the needle at the moment, getting through the lap traffic, and then once he gets clear of the best car in turn 5, now he can focus on trying to get to that focus. And the only other car he'll have to pass is the Subaru that's in between them. And the Subaru runs a little bit wide out of turn 8 on that occasion.
Certainly clear track, in fact about 2.5 kilometres of clear track in front of Chaz Mostert at the time. Salmon's still in the pits. The other one is Vinciella in the 64 HSV. He's pushing hard as well, starting to carve up the field a little bit there. So they're trying to push their way back through, and the Evo 10 of Rod Salmon is in the pits. Will Brown was off to shower up, and the car comes into pit lane.
That's looking very diff.
Yeah,
like
they look
problem
under the back of the car, and then looking like not going to do a whole lot about it either.
No, not at this stage of the game.
That's for sure. Around comes Rick Bates. Let's have a look at the lap times for these two protagonists. There's Bob Pearson. He's
looking on.
Got it looking through the bifocals or through the tinted part of his glasses.
That gap. That lap, a 32.52 from Mostert, a 32.52 from Bates. They're going hammer and tong at this.
Did you think that they were going to sit back and relax? There was absolutely no way. And as Bob Pearson has suggested, he's going to bring my car home and rattle wreck. Here's the Class C leader, Tyler Everingham, racing Formula 4 for Zagami Motorsport this year, and joining with Michael Arman this weekend. And Michael Arman, I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I've said it 3 times, has driven very well in this car. Nearly sight unseen, only a couple of laps early on this weekend to qualify for the race. And Michael Arman, his first start in production cars, went very well indeed. He put the car where it needed to be, and Tyler Everingham just happens to be at the wheel of it now as he guides it through to the end. And a good result for Colin Osborne, not for him personally, but Osborne Motorsport getting this car through.
Oh, HSV goes off circuit at turn 1, but not too badly. Rescues it, brings it back up. We could see that happening in the background, and we didn't know where it had ended up, but he did go off track.
We have our race leader on the final lap here for this, the second round of the Australian Production Car Series, and it's Chaz Mostert with a healthy 10-second lead now over the Evo, owned by Bob Pearson, being driven by Rick Bates. What a drive actually to Morecambe, because he wasn't hurrying early on in this race. He wasn't getting ugly. The car wasn't getting put on the dirt. And we saw Will Brown just struggling with the car under him a little bit and getting quite aggressive with it as well as he comes up the fence. But Nathan Morecambe drove very, very sensibly. As they come around turn 11, Chaz Mostert will point the DPO Rondo Ford towards the finish line, and WM Waste coming down to the line now, just cruising. 7.8 seconds behind him is Rick Bates, and they get to the line, just trickles there, and there goes Rick Bates. Ultimately, at the end of the day, That gap came down to 4.99 seconds, and Bob Pearson has got a Evo that has been absolutely ragged. Tony Shebeki has got the winner down there at the moment, about to have a smile on his face.
Well, one of the two winners, Daz, we've got Nathan Morecambe, of course, his partner is out in the car at the moment. Congratulations, mate, well done.
Thank you. We finally got the monkey off our back and got that win for the first win for the Focus RS. Great little car. Still working out the little gremlins we got, but stoked for myself and Chaz and Direct Passport Outlet to get their first win in their new car.
Good stuff. Over to you, Wolsey.
Thank you, Tony. I'm with Bob, and Bob ultimately couldn't quite catch him, but second, a great finish.
We're happy with second, but on the restart there was about 6 cars between Chaz and Rick, and it was just too much of a gap to bridge. And I think in the end, Monster was just managing the gap anyway. So we're happy with that. We've got a result, and they're a very well-resourced and professional team. So we don't mind losing to them.
Here's the final results. Chaz Mostert and Nathan Morecambe have taken out race 2 of round 2 of the Australian Production Car Series ahead of Rick Bates and Bob Pearson, Dimitri Agathis in third spot.
Scott Gore getting home in the BMW 135i into position 4. Tyler Everingham, he gets home in position number 5. Dominic Martins in the Mini Cooper S brings home that class win there. Andrew Bollum and the RX-8 that did a fantastic job in Class C, ultimately home second. Alexandra Best, Lee Burgess and Vince Ciala in the Holden HSV.
Third win between you guys, that's a nice little combination.
Yeah, it's been good, but this car's been teasing us. You know, we debuted it at Bathurst last round, and then yesterday with we were leading in the tyre, so it's good in its third race that we can get the win for the Ford Focus RS and all the DPO boys. The amount of effort everyone puts down production down the lane here in production cars is unbelievable. Seeing the Sharon guys change motors last night, it's just as fierce racing in this production car series what it is any other category around the world.
Gary, we next see these guys go to Sydney Motorsport Park on July 7, 8 and 9.
It's only 3 weeks away, so it doesn't give us much time to get over this one and get ourselves organised to be back up in Sydney.
We look forward to seeing you all there and right throughout the rest of the 2017 season. I'm Darren Smith. We'll see you at the Shannons Nationals.